out into the meta, not something that we've seen really as much in regions like Korea. But speaking of the Mei, you take a look at Phase 2, it does look like they're going to be coming out with the Mei here early on.
I mean, Pika is a player that's been known to flex onto those projectile heroes. It's interesting because so has King. They have two players that can actually flex onto those projectile heroes. King actually making the swap to Brigida instead. So Phase 2 going to be running not quite 3-3. They're having that Mei in place of the Diva.
I mean, everything for Phase 2 here is about where the wall is. If the wall doesn't get value, NRG can simply run into them. Wall going to come out here early, and NRG not really too phased by it. Izar, as long as he gets away, it's going to be fine. Duplicate punished early, and now NRG, nothing is stopping them from just immediately driving into Phase 2. It's going to be very decisive. And in terms of running the Mei, it gets a lot more difficult to get value out of the Mei when you're trying to get out of spawn.
Well, it is tough to get value of it when you're coming out of spawn, but the one benefit of Mei comparatively to not running Mei when leaving the spawn now, especially on Control Center, is that you can use the wall to get in.
The problem is that if you use the wall to get in and you're not doing anything significant to their team, you still run into the paradigm they can just run at you. Wall can be used here early on. NRG, they just go around it. Again, smashing into Phase 2 with reckless abandon, and it's incredibly one-sided.
Have the run at you strategy looking extremely powerful right there for NRG. The wall's out. They know they can engage for free. There's nothing to stop them. And without a Diva to eat that damage, without a Diva to help heal for the backline, or put that shield pressure, that's a one fight for NRG.
And speaking of divas right now, Smek's one of the better divas at just denying enemy ultimates, and Pika's about to have Blizzard, but there's a good chance it's gobbled on up.
Yeah, this Blizzard needs to be very strong here because NRG coming up to that combo along with the Transcendent Environment.
Stand one holding it back, Earth Shatter, gonna get interrupted, not going to be able to land it on down, in a really tough spot because of the wall, under pressure, but healed back up. Blizzard still in reserve, Duplicate, gonna drop the Shatter, Graviton though, in on the other side for NRG, Graviton combo, right to the back, not gonna connect, Transcendent's in for Phase 2, and it's getting chilly. It is getting very chilly in here, Stand one frozen, but the beat's gonna come out in time for NRG, gonna save him, and instead it's Duplicate that's falling. Wall comes out late in the fight, but Phase 2 now, very weakened and down a ride.
Oh man, Phase 2, they were surviving the combo, they were able to put out a good Blizzard, but they didn't have that beat up yet from Faz, they didn't have the sustain they needed. And it's so important in 3-3 when you're running these double defensive support ults, able to bunny hop them later.
And the Mei experiment is done. Pika's going the Diva, but it might be too little too late.
So much time bank here, ZP, and now NRG, they still hold the doors. They're coming with a fresh Diva, but Stand one about to have another Shatter.
Goes in for the charge, ends up getting stunned. In the grab right now, holding strong, and Duplicate down again. Bursted even with the grab being in progress from Phase 2. Kevster down, 5-on-5, Stand one, again under pressure. Is he gonna get away again? He's so low!
Surely not! Where was the chase on to Stand one? They can't clean up Izire or Smex in the backline either.
Stand one lives again, gets away from the danger. Smex layering in the bomb, now just zoning Phase 2 off the point. NRG looking very strong right now. Stand one is apparently an immortal.
Phase 2 does get the back half though. They send Pika, they send King there, but there's the grab. King cleaned up, Pika's gonna be down soon. Grab eaten as well for Smex, eating Onyx's grab. So it's over now, it's clean up for NRG. They're just gonna be cleaning up the point here, but focus fire for Phase 2, very lacking it seems like.
Well, it was very good and then lacking at the very end where their focus fire on the Stand one, early in fights, he would lose a lot of HP. And then he would just live, he would get away, which is certainly part for NRG in supporting Stand one, but also for the Phase 2 side, finish your plate.
Well, that's also part of the problem of running that Mei early on for the majority of that round, of that stage, due to the fact that it's tough to chase kills. It's very tough to chase kills. You don't have those Diva boosters to just, you know, engage. You don't have all that damage, all that shield pressure from Diva that is able to put out there. Mei, it's more of an engage hero. You're trying to set up an engagement rather than chase down an engagement. So, NRG picking up the first round here on Lijiang.
We will have a change in styles here. Phase 2 going to be coming out on 3-3 with Ryan. NRG 3-3 with Winston. And again, how does this change how you go about this here on Garden?
Well, really, it's going to be on how Phase 2 are looking to maybe catch someone out on the rotation. The Reinhardt's a lot less mobile, but a lot more damage when possible if you're able to nail someone down from NRG.
Well, early pressure.
But the early pressure on
Nishik down immediately. And off that, again, NRG, they're doing the classic roll with them strategy. Early pickoff, and there's just very little Phase 2 can do because of how decisive these engages have been.
I mean, that was a great engage for NRG. They recognized that Phase 2 was moving forward. Duplicate was being very aggressive. They were looking to catch maybe the backline for NRG. But where was the peel for Nishik? Faz is alive, King's alive, Pika's alive, Onyx is alive. Where's the bubble, the armor pack, anything? Just Stand one and Specs able to walk at Nishik for free.
And speaking of Stand 1 got a lot of good cleave damage there. Now he's almost in the zone where he can dive in and get Primal as this fight develops.
I mean, he should get Primal within this fight, and Primal, a very strong ability early before there are any other ults on the field, especially with these environmental hazards around the point.
And he might not even need to use it. He got so much damage in the backhand that no one was protecting Nishik again. Smex got in there with them, and very easy dispatch, and it's just cleave damage, ruining Phase 2's day, and Stand 1 uses the Primal to avoid getting knocked into the pit.
That is going to do just that. It's going to be clean up now. Stand 1, picking up King, picking up Onyx off the map. However, not the worst engage for Phase 2 because they got, not only did they get the Primal, but they got Byram's Trance out as well. So they're grabbed, which they don't have. So realistically, they're going to have to look for the double support ult early if possible because this combo is out for NRG. They need to sustain or they need to engage first.
This is a very, very tough spot for Phase 2 to be in right now. Again, they're going to wrap around the right side, use White Room as their entry. But now we look to Kevster, right, and how he's going to set up this combo. Phase 2 opening up with the rally. And Kevster lobs in the grab. Nothing to be done about it. Smex throws in the self-destruct over the top. Right on in. Duplicate down. And off the grab kill on the Duplicate, it's going to be so hard for Phase 2 to actually bring this back. And I got news for you here. They're down to their final fight.
That's going to be that. This is last fight territory coming up. That was the combo used. Kevster dropping the grab, Smex using the bomb. So Phase 2 aren't in a completely untenable situation here because they have their own combo. They have a lot of their own ults. Nishik instead swapping to the Moira here, afraid that he's going to get picked off again as they move towards the point.
The issue that I have here is that it's going to be so predictable that they're going for combo that Smex has a great potential read at getting the grab beat, but no, doesn't happen. But the grab comes out really early, doesn't get any, it gets Kevster, but nothing else for NRG. That still might be enough, but Stand 1 can use Primal here, potentially boot people away. But I think NRG, they're doing the smarter thing. They're just giving up.
NRG's backing out, and the problem now is that since Nishik is on Moira and Faz just used Beat, no defensive ults are going to be up at all for Phase 2 here. They have nothing to sustain a grab. They have nothing to really sustain any sort of huge damage. They also have no Discord Orb, so not great focus fire targets.
And that's why I think NRG pulled off there. It's like, could they have maybe won that fight if they invested everything? Sure, but why win that fight when you can now win this fight? Stand 1, immediately gonna dive in, quick bubble on him, chasing down the Moira in the back, gonna force her out of position. Meanwhile, the Graviton comes in. Moira wasn't even there for the early healing in the start of it. Faz down, and NRG just picking Phase 2 apart here. Gonna use a Transcendence. Not time to save Smex's mech, but it's still enough to give NRG a good position. Oh, down goes Duplicate, knocked right to the pavement.
I mean, they're also gonna get Nishik, Stand 1 getting 2 so far, still primaling on the point, looking for King. Gonna be on top of him, that'll be the frag very soon. Byram picking that up. This is NRG's point, and now it's just cleanup for NRG, and a really interesting swap onto that Moira. I think that decided it because they were afraid that Nishik would get picked again, but you don't have Discord, you don't have Trance.
Yeah, it's sort of, all right, he's not gonna get picked off as much as on Moira, but we've lost our main tools to actually win the game. Duplicate, emergency charge, but probably too little too late here. NRG just too many bodies on the point. Phase 2, of course, going to be doing everything they can do to lay this out, but it's just very rare for this to actually turn a map around, particularly in the stage.
I mean, there's no way as long as Byram lives because Kevster is about to have another grab. Smex has bomb on top of that. There's just really no way that Phase 2 can win this recontest.
What more can you say, but an absolute smacking from NRG going on to Phase 2 here. Wasn't a close game, and one where NRG didn't just win off better mechanical skill there and better coordination. They also just had better compositions.
I mean, it really, when it comes down to it, Xin is the best support in the game right now. You can't really argue the point. His value, his utility is incredible. Obviously, when you take him outside of these 3-3 comps where maybe he's a little bit more vulnerable, you don't have the Brigida and things like that to protect him, then he's weaker. But right now, he has too much help. He has too much peel. He's too strong. His ult's too good. The focus fire is so important. So a rough swap when you're ever not on Xin.
And I mean, also we had the classics up here as well, just sort of, you know, something that's a little bit more gimmicky, off the beaten path versus strong fundamentals. And the reality of Overwatch is that generally speaking, strong fundamentals will win out over time.
I mean, strong fundamentals will always win out in the end. More realistically, I mean, when you're equal in fundamentals, then you can see that high-level strat gameplay. But really, fundamentals are the defining factor between very good and not as good teams. And also, Phase 2 are in a rough situation as well because Duplicate has always been a standout member for this roster, even last season in Contenders. But Stand 1 is good. Stand 1 is a very good main tank player. He's only looked better as time has gone on. And so they don't have this clear main tank advantage that they might have against some weaker teams. So they don't have that pillar to really rest against.
No, and I mean, I think it's good that you mentioned Stand 1 because his development over time has been really good to watch, where people were wondering what NRG was going to do, where they lost Swan, who was their main tank through most of last year. Of course, Swan picked up into the Overwatch League, but Stand 1, he has gotten better and better over time. He's looked every much part of the role, and really, at this point, I would argue he's starting to surpass where Swan was for this team last year,
for sure.
And it's been a very big boon to NRG as time has gone forward.
He's looked like an extremely solid addition. Byram as well, someone that didn't look great in the beginning, but has looked increasingly good on that flex support role too.
So, maps, of course, coming up here. It's going to be Eichenwald, our second map here of the day. And from what we've seen here, what would you say Phase 2 can do, if anything, to turn the tide, or do they just have to play NRG's game and hope that it works out?
Just win, Forehead. Just win for it. I mean, realistically, if you're going to play non-3-3 compositions, you have to be extremely confident in how you're setting up those engages because it is so important. Like those minor mistakes, getting caught when you're playing the non-mirror matchup, it's extremely punishing because there's so many resources on the side of a 3-3 team. So they need to be much more confident, much more decisive, knowing their win conditions better, or they need to play the 3-3 and ensure that duplicate its value.
We'll see how it pans out here. NRG, of course, going to be here on the defense first. And, you know, going back to the idea of fundamentals is that right now, if you're winning the 3-3 setups, you don't really have any reason to go away from the 3-3. It's up to the other team to do something to make you swap. And for NRG, they're going to just probably run this throughout most of the series.
NRG will not move out of their comfort zone if they don't need to. There's realistically no reason to do so, especially when they're looking so much stronger on that comfort zone. So now, Phase 2, moving out. Going to be that mirror matchup line for both sides.
Now it's always a question of how aggressively do you want to hold here. NRG, not really interested in playing it at the choke point. Instead, going to rotate over, play this more on the point. Pokemon going in flux right now, and it's a lot of pressure going on the Phase 2 shield here. Duplicate in a little bit of trouble. Bubble already used, and he's a bit low. NRG could have dove into that. They decided against it.
They decided against it because, I mean, San 1's health wasn't the greatest exactly at that moment either. He's healed up now, but both teams still just poking, and the defense doesn't necessarily have to take that initiation.
Both cooldowns going to be up here. A little bit of pressure for Peak on the outside. Loses half his HP for it. Phase 2 diving in, and this time they get Stand 1 early. Duplicate going to get healed back up. They lose Pika's mech as part of it, but that's a good trade here for Phase 2. The Reinhardt generally a little bit more controlling in these situations. Duplicate still under a bit of pressure, but as it's going on, Phase 2, they invest the Graviton. Nice boot back. Buys a little bit of time for NRG, but I don't think it's going to be enough. The Transcendence is just a little bit late.
I don't agree with committing this Trans and the Grav here to this fight, but NRG does. They have that stagger back. Stand 1 is back, but look at the rally late from King. They should be able to pick up anything Phase 2. Duplicate getting 2, and that's going to be that.
And that just shows sort of the problem that you have in trading where, yeah, losing the Diva mech early is tough. Losing the Reinhardt, it's a lot worse.
Heroes, especially in those early ult neutral fights where neither team still have a huge ult bank advantage by either mean, the Reinhardt is probably one of your most crucial heroes. You can lose very early. The big rectangle, the shield that absorbs so much damage, allows your team to play a lot safer, get more poke. In addition, he's a natural focus fire target. He does a lot of damage in the 3-3 comp. So Duplicate staying alive so key there for Phase 2.
NRG going to be looking for a way back in. Of course, down to Transcendence. They threw it away towards the end of the fight. And Grav. Kevster, though, 55%. So NRG, their goal here, delay this out a little bit. Give time to build up in power. Stand 1 and Smek's about to come online. Phase 2, biding their time as well. And again, it's a long poke battle, but Stand 1 getting the worst of it right now. Duplicate going in, sensing a little bit of weakness here. And self-destruct from Smek's not getting exactly what he's looking for. Now the counter grab is up. Phase 2 moving back in, gonna be forcing out the Transcendence from NRG.
There's the beat from Faz, the counter beat from Pooks as well. Smeks catching Onyx, great aggression for NRG. The shield's broken for Duplicate. Phase 2 gonna lose this fight. Maybe a little bit of a mistime on that grab as well for Onyx. He was expecting Pika to have the bomb to combo, but Pika was at 96%, did not have it up in time.
Also, that is wild. Smeks used self-destruct to open up the next fight, or last fight. Now look at him, 84%.
And that's just the power of chasing down frags. You see, look how aggressive NRG is, not allowing Phase 2 to exit the spawn very easily.
Phase 2, gonna be looking for a way in here. Rally used on both sides. Phase 2, trying to take the fight to NRG. NRG backing up a little bit. Graviton in reserve, so is the bomb. So they can just hold him back a little bit. Set up for the grab bomb. Graviton gonna be in Smeks, laying the self-destruct up to the sky. What's it gonna get? He takes down King. And it's one, but it's also enough.
Stand 1 also committing extremely deep. Oh! He drops a shatter. Faz picks him up. not much going to come from that Shadow now. In phase 2, they have the superior spawns. They just looking for the better value.
That was really aggro for NRG. They didn't have to chase it down quite as much. I mean, it might work out here for Smex and Byram, able to pick up 2 towards the end, but that was really risky. Phase 2, now deciding to clean up. They're going to invest the Transcendence to save. Really?
That's a good trade. That's
Yeah.
a good trade there. I mean, they got the grab out of Onyx. There was no cleanup available. Pika didn't have the bomb and just use it. So now NRG still holding, getting that grab out, and they're going to be in a very solid position to control streets.
Very scrappy right now between both teams. Phase 2, though, looking fairly drained right now. They would beat up a little bit soon. NRG, though, they're not going to wait. Rally up. Again, charging in. Duplicate again. Drop the hammer. Gets a whole lot of nothing. But stand 1 still going to fall. Was a little bit overextended. Now Graviton in from NRG. And NRG, they dive in off of it. Phase 2 had nothing they could use to keep people alive in that grab.
So close. Faz actually had a great setup early on. Gets the boop onto stand 1, booping him into phase 2, setting up the Shadow of Duplicate, but it gets blocked by Kevster's self-bubble. However, no defensive ults like you talked about there in the grabs, which means NRG just cleans up.
Phase 2, 2 minutes left here, and they have not been able to get a whole lot of traction here on point B.
No, not at all. They also still don't have grab combo. Byram going to be close to that Transcendence. Here's the engage.
Duplicate almost dying early on. Nishik just barely able to transcend time to save him. Self-destruct up here from NRG, not going to connect. Faz holding on to the barrier. Phase 2, a bit low. They need to back up a little bit. Buy some time to get healed.
They have to back up, but they need to look for an engage. Onyx needs to get this grab because NRG having both support ults and going to have that grab of their own very soon.
Phase 2 now deciding to take the fight. Graviton is up, and that's why. Moving in, going to force the Transcendence out from Byram. NRG still sitting relatively pretty. Grab in! Pika able to get the grab just in the nick of time. NRG, though, still in the fight. Rally up, barrier in. Taking the fight to phase 2. Duplicate very, very low right now. Not a whole lot to save him. He gets in trouble, but his Shatter up, backs up, swings the hammer, knocks down 2. Phase 2, dropping the self-destruct over the top. Look at the combo with it. What's it going to get? Gets Kevster as phase 2 finally gets a little bit of traction here at point B.
That is all they needed. A huge eat from Pika there. If that grab had connected, there weren't really any defense ults alive for phase 2. They were not up. It would have been so big, allowing Duplicate to get that Shatter as well. Huge eat from Pika.
Phase 2, able to grit that one out. Final minute left. NRG not with a whole lot to charge out of spawn here with either.
NRG now looking for this recontest. A lot of NRG's recontest potential is going to land on Byram's trans.
NRG rolling on out, and the Graviton just going to be getting all of NRG together. Byram gets Transcendence, but it's not in time to save after that. Stand 1 already down, and phase 2 should be able to clean up the rest of this. This Castle Gate is going to be crashing on down.
It is, and also Pika almost off the map, comes back. The remix almost throwing him off there. So phase 2 winning this recontest, getting Byram's trans out of it as well. Well played for phase 2, also holding on to their own support ults, which is the most important part moving into this next fight, is that they held on to both their support ults. Well, Faz will have that beat soon.
In the meantime, they were probably going for what is, of course, just the grab for support ult trade. But the thing for NRG, they also have Smex's bomb coming up, so it might be a little bit different here, where you have to watch a stand 1, the charge in as the grab comes in, see if he can deal with the shield to give the bomb a little bit more time.
It's very much dependent on if stand 1 can not only get the barrier out of the way, but if Faz can get beat.
Graviton, give me this here from Kevster. Smex, is he going to throw on the bomb here? No, he's going to hang on to it because they get Faz right off. Smex, his patience in hanging on, working out. Transcendence was invested here for phase 2, still down a man. Onyx, Graviton up, has to use it because the shield's about to break. Stand 1 down, barrier coming up from NRG, but not quite as good as they would like. Still off the self-destruct. Pika gets Smex in phase 2, actually getting the better of this.
They are going to win this fight, phase 2, chasing down these frags. Faz is back, he has the beat. And most importantly here, wait, well, A, Kevster dies, and Kevster loses the energy on a transitionary fight like this, which is so important. And B, Byram has trans Kevster close to this grab, so Nishik needs to build the trans of his own in this fight if possible.
Well, he needs to build it really quickly because NRG right now, their plan is simply going to be to press Q and run at them. Byram, look at his Transcendence here. Very likely to come out early in the fight. Stand 1, just super aggro and moving in. Look at his HP. As soon as someone gets low, Transcendence coming out. Barrier invested. Shatter coming down. Byram down, though. He was the one who needed the Transcend. He got bursted in the middle of the fight.
Nishik doesn't have trans for this grab, though. It's going to be the cleanup for NRG. Even with Byram going down, that grab for Kevster was so big. Nishik was so close to the trans, but he didn't have it.
And even with the early pickoff, as you say, it's Nishik. He couldn't get the Transcendence up in time. And now the problem with phase 2, I don't think they can get back to the point. It's 10 seconds left. Everyone is pushed out. It's going to be very hard for them to touch here.
The only way they're going to be able to is if they trans in and get to the point. I don't even know if they can Faz. He's going, he's rolling, but no. Phase 2 cannot touch. Still a solid offense. Not that it could have been much worse. They were almost held on that streets.
Yeah, I would say for phase 2, you're sighing a little bit in relief there, because even though they don't finish out the map, as you say, it could have been much worse. They had trouble getting any traction after getting through point A, where NRG was just cycling ults much more efficiently and getting the better of engagements at times that phase 2 probably should have been able to get.
NRG now going to be on the offense. Not the perfect defense for them, but still a solid defense. So they have plenty of room to work with. They know their win condition as well here for the offense.
Yeah, and that's always something good to have in your back pocket. Also knowing that you don't have to worry about extra rounds. All you have to do is effectively just finish out the map. It's pretty close to the very end, a little bit before, but you know, effectively just kind of semantics in the end. NRG finish out the map, and they will go up 2-0 as they look at the half.
Both teams just assembling, preparing to do the attack defend here. Phase 2 looking like they're likely going to be running this Rhine 3-3. Pretty standard, pretty acceptable stuff that we've seen. Seen it coming out a lot. NRG, I would be shocked to see Izire on the Pharah. More than likely, he's going to be still on that Brigida.
I mean, we might not see, we might be puking if the camera stays on Izire for much longer there. He is actually trying to make us and the chat vomit.
They're just sitting in the rafters. Coming back down, going to be making the swap now. So it will be the mirror between NRG phase 2 here. NRG getting ready for their first offense.
And again, for NRG, it kind of comes back to the idea that right now their 3-3 isn't broken, so really no need to fix it. Phase 2, we'll get an idea of how they want to hold this here, and looking to be a little bit more aggressive, but nope, they decide against it. They're not going to hold at the point instead, or hold at the choke. Instead, they go right back to the point.
NRG moving from this left side, but actually dropping the fake, moving right now, setting up this engage onto Duplicate. The bubble's out. Can they clean up?
Well, Duplicate, as you said, the bubble is gone now. He's a little bit more vulnerable. Stand 1 gets chunked as they're trying to punish that. So phase 2, getting the better of that engage. They can't get a pick off, but they do buy time.
NRG now moving back to the point. Still just looking for that engage, looking for any sort of opening. The ult banks on both sides still pretty equal.
Got picked! That was a combination between Onyx and Nishik in the back, and off of that, it's very good focus fire. It's Onyx and Nishik working together as a team. They get 2 early pickoffs behind the shield, and NRG, they have no choice but the back.
And that was a huge pickoff, and even more importantly than that, Onyx now, because of that high energy, because of those early picks onto Kevster, he's ahead in the grab war, which means they can use the grab, force out those support ults early, or actually they're going to have their combo. They don't even need to worry about forcing out support ults if they don't want. They can just set it up.
It's looking very, very good right now for phase 2. They've already bought about 1:15 off the clock, and they're loaded for the next fight. So if they take this next fight, no matter what, they'll have a pretty decent point A defense.
I really think phase 2 should be holding more aggressively here, looking to set up this engage, but they're going to be playing the point.
Well, they're going to open up with the grab here, just getting stand 1. Self-destruct going in over the top. What's going to get? Takes down stand 1. They dealt the Rhine.
That's all they need, especially with the trance is already out. The Transcendence for Byram's gone. So this is just phase 2, cleaning up the fight, chasing those frags as energy jumps off the map. However, now they're in the reverse situation. Smek's going to have that bomb soon. Kev's going to have that grab. And phase 2 do not have a beat. They don't have that double support ult, which is sometimes so crucial in surviving.
I think really the best case scenario for phase 2 here, even though they're likely to fall if they don't get some miracle early pick, it's just going to be delay. Like
delay is good. I really want to see when a lot of teams are down at ult advantage here, aggression. Aggression is so key. If they can set up a duplicate shatter, if they can use this rally of King to get something down early.
Well, they hold back. They're not being aggressive at all. NRG is going to get the pick of how they want to engage this here. Rally out here for both teams. Shatter coming in from stand 1, puts everyone on the ground. Duplicate not getting up from that one. And off of that, NRG. Why? But why? But why have you dropped the beat? It was not music time. It was not party time. That was janitor time. You didn't need to drop the beat there.
Pooks, I mean, I don't know how fat his fingers might be, but that was definitely not a fat finger, I don't think. He was holding very far back. Get ready to set up the beat there.
In the words of the old school Simpsons, he's going to have to order a dialing wand for his keyboard after that, because that's just ridiculous. There was no need to hit Q there.
There was not. Maybe there's some miscommunication there. And now, phase 2 have to feel confident because they know there's neither support ult up for NRG, just the combo.
Oh, Graviton going to be out here from Kevster. Smeks layering in the self-destruct on the top. A little bit of disruption there, sets it up. King out of the fight. And stand 1, though, going to fall. Phase 2 still with options. They invest a barrier, a shatter of their own. They're looking for a bit more, but Duplicate getting very low and trying to follow it through. Onyx going to fall. And NRG investing the rally towards the end should give them the durability they need.
However, if I'm phase 2, I'm feeling confident about this exchange still because you got the ult out. Now, granted, Kevster already close to that Graviton, but you got the support out from Byram. You got the Transcendence, you got the rally. you can come back, have a combo of your own for this fight.
I think phase 2, they're in a good spot here, if nothing else.
The key is they have to get their ult out first. They have no support ults. Phase 2 has nothing to mitigate Kevster's grab.
Well, the one thing that NRG can do here...
Well, they can't now because they're opening the doors.
Well, they're at the door. Faz down immediately, so is Byron. Pika! Over the top, the self-destruct. Of course, set up by the grab from Onyx.
You know, I misread that. It's actually they're holding the doors and they use the grab to get out. But the problem with using grab so early is that they won't have it for these continuous fights. But still, a much better exchange for phase 2, considering they've gotten out of they've stopped the hold, they got those frags, and Nishik is close to that Transcendence.
Yeah, it's looking pretty decent here so far for phase 2. Able to get a little bit better positioning on the top. NRG can challenge them. It's an interesting spot for a challenge to be fought. Graviton going to be coming in here, phase 2. Countering with the Transcendence of their own. Shatter in from stand 1. Going to be knocking people down to the ground. Izar, though, already down. And Specs off the other side. One good bomb deserves another, and NRG going to be piercing through off that.
Yeah, that bomb set up from stand 1 Shatter, keeping everyone on phase 2 on the ground. The Transcendence was invested from Nishik as well. NRG have both support ults, both the Byram's Trans and Pooks' beat. So they're in a very, very good position to take the cap here as we have a pause come out.
Yep, there is a pause.
Likely some, who knows, really. I was told that NRG was having internet issues pre-match. So maybe NRG having some issues now, having some of those internet issues, some DC.
It is a possibility. In fact, while we're taking a look at here, our thing was going wild. And no, we're all good.
Our thing was not going.
Yeah, I was just looking at that here, where suddenly you hear random things. Discord's like, "Are we still here?" But our camera feed is still here.
We are.
I'm just. It's one of those things like, it's not us, is it?
We never know. But it would be really unfortunate if it is a DC for NRG, considering how good their position is moving in to this cap. And if it was one of the supports that DC, that's a support out, gone from the fight. They're not there, so that could actually enable phase 2 to recontest.
It really could. And look, I mean, so far here it's been looking pretty strong for NRG, but phase 2 at the very least showing signs of life in these last few fights.
They're looking a lot better in Eichenwald. Looking a lot better. So they seem to have a much clearer grasp of the 3-3 than they let on during that control. And that could just be because of the fact on control maps, when you lose the first engage, you're just behind the entire rest of that round, and you lose mid, you lose the time bank. But we're back in the game. Seems to be fixed.
Yeah, we're back on in. Everything has been restored. NRG looking to break down the castle door, as it were. And Duplicate gonna fall early as phase 2 tried to get out. They do not successfully do that. They get the Transcendence out of NRG, but for NRG, it's a good trade. Use Transcendence, gonna get point B.
They actually had to use both support ults there, both the beat and the Transcendence, so it's still a good trade, considering Transcendence. I think Transcendence, if you're a very solid Zen, you're actually building them extremely quickly. It's a relatively cheap ult. It's more of just where you use it. And now, NRG just getting these cleanup frags. King trying to contest the point. Actually picking up Byram. Pretty big there, denying that Trans build. It's phase 2 getting ready to recontest. They're going to have the beat of their own.
I think it's okay for NRG. I mean, okay, Byram is down. It's going to hurt building Transcendence, but they're also getting a lot of payload progress off of this. So it's sort of, there's benefits to both, but we'll see what comes out here. And NRG, they're going to back up a little. Wait for Byram to get back into the fight.
Now NRG, they're going to be looking to set up this grab. They don't have the combo just yet, but they do have a lot of damage, and it's only going to be the beat for Faz to mitigate it.
NRG, Rally going to come out here. Both teams saying, rally to me. Is NRG taking a bit slower. I mean, they do have 2 minutes to finish out the map. They have a reasonable amount of time. And so far, they're just waiting for what could be best described as the right opportunity.
NRG's waiting for the bomb for Specs. They really want Specs' bomb to commit to this fight.
Well, that bomb is going to be up really soon here. Stand 1 opening up with the Earth Shower. They get Duplicate immediately. Graviton has been invested. Smex holding on to the bomb in the back. Barrier now about to fade, and Smex just might lob this bomb right out there. So assuming they live through Pikas, they do. King is going to fall, and NRG just picking phase 2 apart piece by piece here. A little bit sloppy, but certainly working.
Duplicate will be back, but it's really over for phase 2 unless Duplicate can hit a great shatter here. It has to be huge.
And NRG just looking to smother. Self-destruct from Specs, looking to be the finisher here. Duplicate down. Ezire just moving towards the spawn. Stand 1 right with them. The payload 0.59 away. And the barrier again. Make sure that NRG is nice, safe, and secure as they bring this to its final destination. It's NRG up 2-0 here at the half.
And that really comes down to the fact that Duplicate dies in the grab. They invest the trance, not able to keep him alive through the burst, and Faz's beat comes a little too late. And the craziest part about that is that Smex's bomb wasn't even used to get that burst damage. That was just pure focus fire.
No, it wasn't. Smex kind of looked and goes, well, I guess I don't need to use this now. You guys just did everything without me.
Yeah, that was really huge. And the beat just had to come out earlier.
Yeah.
Realistically, you have to make a choice. You have to. We've talked about this again. Aggression is the fix for a lot of teams that aren't performing well if they don't have a very good understanding of how you trade and counter trade ults and cooldowns. So sometimes just stop worrying about it and go. Make the engagement. And really, Phase 2 just wasn't decisive. They weren't making the choices that they needed to make. They weren't really engaging, getting any ults, any cooldowns out early. So they were letting NRG set the pace for the entirety of the match.
Well, the other problem with that as well is that when you're down on ultimates, do you think that your situation is going to get better by giving the team with more ultimates a chance to set up a perfect fight? And the answer to that almost certainly is going to be no. If you engage at a situation that maybe they're not expecting, that's where you do things like get a Zenyatta out of the fight early, or at least force a Transcendence where maybe they don't want to use Transcendence yet. You make the opportunity there for cool stuff to happen, for something to change the paradigm of the match, but if you just wait and let the other team do what they want to do, well, it's going to be very difficult to actually turn the tables, especially when it comes to ult economy.
It will. You just can't let the enemy team dictate it. We see strong teams, even when they're down in ults, they're not afraid to be aggressive. They're not afraid to get something out early from the opposing team. They're not afraid to set their own pace instead of letting it be dictated for them. And Phase 2 just sort of sat back and let NRG look for those engages.
I do think part of it also might have came with the idea that Phase 2, when you look at how Duplicate was playing there, is that when he did go aggressive, he got punished a lot of the time, and there comes a point where you lose confidence. But guys, it's 2-0 in favor of NRG. We still got a half of Overwatch left to play. We'll be back after a short break.